Have you ever wondered why you love the way you do? Why some people crave closeness while others keep their distance? Why some throw themselves into relationships with everything they have, while others hesitate, afraid of getting too attached? Love isn't just something we stumble into, it's something we learn. And for better or worse, the way we learned about love started long before we ever experienced romance. From the moment we're born, we absorb everything around us: how our parents show affection, how they handle conflict, how they treat us when we succeed, how they respond when we make mistakes. We internalize patterns of connection, rejection, approval, and neglect. Over time, these patterns become the foundation of our relationships, shaping the way we attach, communicate, and express love. And unless we take the time to recognize and unlearn the unhealthy patterns, they follow us into adulthood, influencing how we love, how we fight, and even how we leave. Before we start, let me ask you, have you ever noticed a pattern in your relationships that you think might be connected to your childhood? Maybe you find yourself always putting others first, struggling to express your emotions, or feeling anxious when a partner pulls away. What's one love pattern you've recognized in yourself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Okay, so let's start. See, some people grow up believing that love must be earned. Maybe their childhood was filled with criticism, high expectations, or the pressure to always be good. They learned that love and approval were conditional, something given only when they pleased others, never something they could just have. As adults, they become the peacemakers, the ones who always put others first, who avoid conflict at all costs. They agree to things they don't want, smile when they don't feel like it, and suppress their own needs just to keep the peace. Saying no feels impossible because, deep down, they fear rejection. They're the ones who become exhausted in relationships, bending over backward to make things work while never asking for what they need. And the cruel irony? The more they give, the more they attract people who take. Others grow up in homes filled with chaos, unpredictable, unstable, sometimes even unsafe. Maybe love was inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes withdrawn. Maybe there was yelling, tension, or emotional neglect. The best way to survive? Stay small, stay quiet, stay out of the way. They learn that their emotions don't matter, that their needs are secondary to keeping the peace. As adults, they struggle to believe they deserve love. They hesitate before speaking up, doubt their worth in relationships, and often attract partners who make them feel the same way they did as kids: unseen, unheard, unimportant. Even when they find someone who treats them well, they question it. They wonder, why would someone love me? And sometimes, they even sabotage good relationships because the idea of being truly valued feels so unfamiliar. Then there are the ones who grew up with no safety net at all. Maybe they had parents who were emotionally absent, or maybe they were forced to take care of themselves from an early age. When you grow up with no protection, you learn to protect yourself. You build walls, you become strong, independent, in control, because control means safety. Love, on the other hand? Love is dangerous. Love means vulnerability. Love means handing someone the power to hurt you, so they keep people at arm's length. They refuse to rely on anyone. In relationships, they take the lead, make the decisions, call the shots, not because they don't care, but because depending on someone else feels like a risk they can't afford to take. And if something threatens that control, if emotions start to feel overwhelming, if a partner asks them to open up, they respond with defensiveness, maybe even anger. Not because they want to push people away, but because their entire life has taught them that vulnerability equals weakness. Some people experience love in extremes. Maybe they had parents who were sometimes affectionate and sometimes cold, who were present one day and distant the next. That unpredictability creates a deep anxiety, one that carries into adult relationships. These are the people who chase love, who fall hard and fast, who idolize their partners in the beginning, but grow restless when reality sets in. When they find someone new, it feels perfect. Intense, exciting, exactly what they've been searching for, but the moment that person doesn't meet their expectations, the moment they sense distance or disappointment, panic sets in. The fear of abandonment takes over. They either cling harder, desperately trying to bring back the high, or they start pulling away first, leaving before they can be left. Relationships for them feel like a cycle of too much and not enough, always searching for something stable, never quite finding it. And then there are the ones who learn to survive by not needing love at all. Maybe they grew up in homes where emotions weren't discussed, where affection was rare, where being independent was valued above all else. They learned that feelings were inconvenient, that expressing vulnerability was a weakness, that relying on someone else only led to disappointment. So they shut down. They become the ones who don't text back right away, who seem distant even when they care, who struggle to express how they really feel, not because they don't want connection, but because they never learned how to handle it. Love for them is practical, logical, manageable in small doses. They don't do grand romantic gestures. They don't fall apart after breakups. They don't rely on anyone but themselves. But deep down, part of them wonders why they always feel just a little disconnected, even when they're in a relationship. The way we love isn't random. It's a reflection of the way we were loved or weren't loved as children. It's the survival tactics we developed in response to our environment, the coping mechanisms we carried into adulthood. And the good news? It's not permanent. Love styles can be unlearned, patterns can be broken. The person you are today doesn't have to be the person you stay. If you've spent your life pleasing others, it's time to start prioritizing yourself. If you've been afraid to take up space, to ask for what you need, to believe you deserve love, start practicing self-advocacy little by little. If you've built walls around yourself, if you've convinced yourself that needing others makes you weak, start letting people in. Slowly, carefully, but let them in. If you've been chasing love in highs and lows, searching for something perfect, only to end up disappointed, take a step back, slow down, let love develop at its own pace, without rushing, without expectations. And if you've been avoiding love altogether, keeping your distance, convincing yourself that emotions aren't important, ask yourself why. Ask yourself what it would feel like to truly connect, to truly be seen, to truly let someone know you. Your childhood may have shaped your love style, but it does not have to define your future. Love isn't something you have to earn, chase, control, or avoid. It's something you deserve just by being human. And once you start healing, once you start unlearning the patterns that have kept you stuck, love will start feeling less like a battle and more like what it was always meant to be, safe, steady, and real. And speaking of healing, sometimes what we think is laziness is actually something much deeper. If you've been feeling drained, struggling to focus, and questioning your own motivation, you need to check out our video on 6 signs that you're burned out, not lazy. Because let's be real, love, life, work, and everything in between can take a toll, and recognizing the difference between burnout and just not trying hard enough could change everything. Click on it now, and don't forget to subscribe to PsychBytes for more deep dives into relationships, psychology, and the patterns that shape us. See you in the next one.